Well, now to this. Socialism running amok in the Big Apple. A Brooklyn homeless shelter battle is entering a new phase as New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani advances this delayed project. Now, last week, construction on a controversial all-male homeless shelter restarted in the middle of the night, despite the project having been stalled after 2 years of protest. Now, those same residents were not happy by the surprise, taking to the streets, as you can see here, to protest the shelter. If completed, the $4.8 million shelter could house up to 150 single men. And the city claims it will be a high-quality shelter with on-site case managers, but residents are worried for their safety, and they have a right to be upset because the shelter, look at this, is a short walk from a preschool. It's a similar story in Staten Island. Residents and politicians taking to the streets to protest a proposed all-male homeless shelter on the South Shore. The new facility, which is expected to open in 2027, will have 160 beds for men experiencing homelessness while either employed or seeking employment. In its proposed site, yet again, here you see it, sits next to children. In this case, a dance center, a cheer facility. Congresswoman Malliotakis was at that Staten Island protest, and she joins me now. Look, Congresswoman, I certainly want homeless to have a place to shelter. That's not the issue here. But why are you building this by a dance studio? And why do you need so many homeless shelters? I guess it's the consequence of socialism.
Yeah, look, this is not about compassion. It's actually about corruption, I believe. I mean, if you look at these contracts, this has become a business in the city of New York. There are contracts that I've seen where we're talking $4,000 to up to $11,000 per unit. Per unit. That is so much more than my constituents are paying their mortgage every month. This has become a real business here, and it started with Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio, under him, we had about 50,000 homeless individuals housed in shelters across the city. Now it's up to 100,000. It has doubled. And Mayor Mamdani, since being put in office, he's already proposed 3 new shelters in my district. And the last one that was not mentioned here is one where it was a veteran and senior citizen facility where they kicked those residents out, including a World War II veteran, and turned it into a migrant shelter. And now he wants to expand that contract, and the cost will be nearly $10,000 per unit per month when you break down $65 million contract.
So let me be clear here. When you say per unit, $10,000 per a room to shelter a person per month. That is an extraordinary amount.
It could be a person or it could be a family. But the reality is that is so much more than New Yorkers pay in rent. My constituents, at least, pay for their rent, pay for a mortgage, and it is unacceptable. And you know what? My constituents are also being saddled with that property tax bill that he wants to hike to pay for this all. And we're also concerned about public safety. Why? We know that this mayor, as his 2 predecessors, they were emptying out Rikers Island. And when I did a FOIL request for all the migrant shelters across New York City, 16,000 crimes were committed by thousands of individuals where their address traced back to one of those shelters. And that is why my constituents are very upset about these facilities popping up with no communication to the community, no transparency about who's going in there, and no safeguards to ensure that the surrounding community will be safe. And I should also point out that if you come to this area in Staten Island where they want to put this shelter, there's no transportation options. This is like the southernmost part of the state of New York. There's 0 transportation options. That's why Staten Islanders rely on cars. So how are these individuals that they claim are going to live there, how are they going to get to a job? How are they going to get to a treatment facility? How are they going to get the services that they need? Because they just simply do not exist there. So again, we're going to call on the DOJ to investigate these contracts. Quite frankly, they're very shady. They're going out as emergencies, no bids, and they need to be scrutinized. In fact, we just saw a federal indictment unveiled relating to shelters in Brooklyn, in which even elected officials have somewhat been connected to this corruption pay-to-play scheme.
Wow, a pay-to-play scheme. That is wild. And when you think about it, that crime statistic you just shared with me is interesting, tracing some of these crimes back to these locations. So by a preschool, I mean, I think if I'm on Staten Island and I'm sending my daughter to a dance studio and I don't know who's there, that's a really frightening thing.
That's right. And is the city going to tell us whether any of these 150 men that will be living there, have they been released recently from Rikers Island? Because it seems they're going somewhere when they're being released from Rikers Island. When we're seeing these homeless shelter populations skyrocket as we have over the last several years, it put two and two together here. But I would like the city to be more transparent about if these individuals have any criminal history or mental health history.
Yeah, and to me it's bigger than New York City. I know we're sitting here, but it's an indictment of socialism too. And we saw this week it announced that this free bus scheme that Mamdani wants is not going to be happening this year. And I just wonder if people are waking up and seeing the socialist experiment, it's not practical, it doesn't work, and it has consequences.
That's right. I mean, the MTA is an entity that is so mismanaged under the leadership of Governor Kathy Hochul. $50 billion in debt. There's no way that they could run a free bus program. I mean, they just can't do it. It's just not practical because it's such a agency is being run into the ground. But what they are doing, I will tell you, is charging my constituents $9 to enter the city center, Manhattan, the city center of where they live, which is completely ludicrous. It's another cash grab. And we're not even seeing that money spent wisely. We're not seeing more transportation options added to the outer boroughs for that amount. And so we're suing. There's multiple lawsuits by New Jersey elected officials, New York elected officials, including myself, as well as Secretary Duffy and the Trump administration. They are operating congestion pricing illegally. Yeah. And Secretary Duffy has done a great job taking the lead in that lawsuit to get them to stop taxing my constituents and treating them like ATM machines.
I only have about 30 seconds here, but it just occurred to me as we pay our taxes Wednesday, the GOP is saving taxpayers money. People are seeing bigger refunds than ever before. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, while blue states are squandering taxpayer money to fraudsters. That's right.
Well, look, the SALT deduction, the senior deduction, seniors are seeing the money they paid on Social Security taxes back returned to them. For the most part, 88% of them across the country are benefiting from that. 52 million seniors. No tax on tips. The average savings there is about $1,300. Same thing with overtime, $1,400 savings. So we are giving money back to the taxpayer. We believe that it belongs in their pockets, right? The working families, the senior citizens, middle class, not Uncle Sam's pockets like the Democrats. And here we are with a mayor who wants to increase the taxes and take whatever you're saving from the federal government and now take it away and give it to the pockets of these huge developers.
There you go. And as people pay Wednesday, I hope they think about that. You pay Uncle Sam, think about the two ideologies and what they provide. Congressman Malliotakis, thank you so much.
Thank you.